Welcome to Nokia 5G Talks, the professional podcast exploring Nokia technologies. Did you know that 5G was not designed for everyday users? One of the key target groups were enterprises. And today we would like to discover and explain how enterprises are using and adapting this technology in their everydays. Hello everyone, welcome to Nokia 5G Talks. My name is László Paksi. I'm leading a small development unit here in Nokia, and we are mostly responsible for 4G, 5G networks. Today I have a chat with Zsolt and Gergő, and we are talking about how this technology is used in the enterprise sector. Hello Zsolt, hello Gergő. Could you please introduce yourself briefly?
Hello, my name is Zsolt Szegedi, and I'm leading a small team in the enterprise department of Nokia, who are responsible for developing private 5G solutions.
Hello, my name is Gergő Schiffler. I'm the program manager of the Nokia Core Enterprise Solution, where we are mainly focusing on the railways, the public safety and the utilities segment.
You already mentioned it, but enterprise is quite a broad notion. So can you please explain who are really interested in 5G networks and why? Zsolt, let's start with you.
All right. I think one of our key segments or sectors that we work with is automotive. We have many customers from the automotive industry, and you wouldn't even imagine how 5G can expedite and help automotive factories to improve their efficiency. My favorite use case for automotive is when one of the big car manufacturers came to Nokia with this problem statement, and they asked us to work together how we can use 5G to improve their current solutions. And we came up with the idea to deploy a private 5G network in their factory that is covering a certain part of the manufacturing production line. And while the car moves through that part of the production line, the software would be downloaded via the 5G network.
So you're saying that the cars are actually connected to the 5G network?
Yes, correct.
But how is it happening? So how can a car connect to a 5G network?
So all modern cars have already a built-in unit which can communicate with wireless networks. This is due to an EU regulation where you need to be able to call emergency services by pushing a button. And to do this, you need to be connected, the car needs to be connected to a public network. This same unit can be used to download the software to the cars, and that's actually what the car manufacturers are doing. When you have the car, when you own it for a couple of years, you can sometimes notice that you get a message on the dashboard that I would like to upgrade the software on the car, please accept or not. This very same unit in the car would be used to download the initial software during the manufacturing process, and this is good for the car manufacturers from that point of view as well, that they are able to test this built-in unit in the car during the production.
And you mentioned that they used to use Wi-Fi. Why 5G is better than Wi-Fi?
5G is a lot more reliable. So what they were doing is they put some sort of Wi-Fi equipment in the car while it was moving on the production line, and that provided the connection to the car to download the software. This obviously requires someone, like a person, to be there to put this equipment there and then remove it once the software is downloaded. With the 5G solution, this is not needed. It's fully automated, and also the throughput of the 5G solution is much higher. Like I mentioned, we are talking about 50, 60 gigabytes of software in some cases, and to be able to download this while the car moves on, let's say, 15, 20 meters of the production line, you can calculate how much bandwidth you need, and you might not get that with the Wi-Fi, but you have it with the 5G.
Okay, nice. So car manufacturing is a really good use case for 5G. Is there any other enterprise fields which can be or which can adapt this technology? Gergő, anything in mind?
Yes, in Nokia Core Enterprise Solution, we are mainly focusing on the railways segment, the public safety segment, and also on the utilities. So when I need to explain that, usually I'm just trying to, let's say, explain what does the networks mean and what the Nokia can provide to our customers. It's like in a real world scenario, what we are doing is building the highway, and the car brands are the providers of the networks. Right now we are building the highway to the enterprise customers in the railway segment. So what does it mean? They can, let's say, use the services and the features, which is mainly focusing on that segment.
Okay, I have the same question that I had to Zsolt. So how do you connect a train to a 5G network? Or is it the train or something else that is connected?
Yeah, there are multiple connectivity between the train, between the, not just only the train, but between the track as well. So, and also those connections towards the enterprise customer network via cable or via the radio equipment. So there are applications which are mainly used on the train itself, which can, let's say, measurement equipment, how the train is behaving, is there an issue in the train, what is the speed of the train. And also there are some track applications which are mainly just, let's say, measuring the track behaviors. And also there are mission critical services which is also included within that segment. The mission critical applications are mainly for the workers, for example, who are building the track. And if the train is coming or it's closer to them, they can just have a signal from their equipment. Hey guys, please move out because the train is coming. So there are a lot of things. Maybe the most important is the mission critical part, at least from my side, because with this application, with these equipment, you can, let's say, have some features like push to talk, push to video, and push to data features, and you can use in a lot of use cases.
Yeah, I think these kind of technologies or services not only important for like railway services or railway people, but others can use it as well.
Yes, you're right. It's really useful and most important part of the public safety segment. So the public safety segment is mainly focusing on the police officers and on the firefighters, for example, because it's really important to them to have a precise information in time with the low latency, with high bandwidth, and with the reliable network. So I think you can imagine, so if there is a big issue or a big trouble in any country or in the world, police officers needs to have a precise data, precise location, and the communication between each other to have a good enough information to protect and save lives.
It's a very important feature for everyone to do, and especially for these people to be safe while they are saving lives. Okay, so we have railways and public safety, also car manufacturing. Is there any other enterprise segment which adapts this technology?
I would like to mention ports. Everybody can imagine and have seen pictures of these huge ports everywhere in the world, where you have these big cranes moving these huge containers full of goods moved around the world. This field or this venue as a port is a very good use case for many applications of 5G. Typical applications are worker safety, similar to what Gergő mentioned. Basically, what you can think about is that if you combine the 5G, the private 5G network with, for example, a 5G precise positioning solution, you can see and track where the workers are within the port. And based on that information, you can see if they go into a territory which they are not allowed to go. This is called geofencing. And basically, you can push a notification or signal or a warning to their devices saying that be careful, you move into an area which you're not supposed to, and that can avoid accidents like these huge containers falling on someone's head or something similar.
These segments are quite different from each other. So ports and car manufacturing, trains and safety services. So what are the unique challenges of these segments and how can we overcome them with Nokia solutions?
In our case, for example, for the railways, it's really important to have a redundant setup, which means if some locations are, let's say, crashing down or kind of outage is happening on one location, we need to have the same setup in another location just to have a redundancy as well. And also there is a kind of a 5G technology which we call this multipath. That means we need to have a double connectivity with double cables, just to avoid the outage if something happening with one cable, just to have connectivity as well. From the traffic profile perspective, the challenge is kind of different because, for example, in the railway there are services which is mainly focusing on, as I mentioned, the mission critical part, which is a mission critical communication with data, with video, with voice. And on the other hand, for example, in the utility segments, there is more like IoT devices, which are kind of the measurement devices. So in the utility segment we can call the gas providers, the electricity providers, the water providers. And when you have these kind of sources, you need to measure it with these equipments, and those equipments also can connect to this network, and those measurement equipments can send periodically the data to the company, and based on that you can, let's say, pay the bill, for example.
Okay, thank you. Any special challenges for ports, for example?
Yeah, basically Gergő mentioned that for them it's very important to have the redundancy. For the automotive and the port, redundancy is less important. Of course, we need to have a certain level of redundancy, but these segments are more focused on a certain feature of 5G. So in the automotive example I mentioned, the bandwidth and the throughput is the most important aspect, and that's the major challenge, to be able to push enough data in the available time that you have for the car moving. And in the port, it's mainly the latency, the low latency aspect of the network, which is the big challenge. Obviously, when you're moving these containers, which are tons and tons heavy with goods, you need to be very sure that the movement of the container reacts immediately to whatever movement you make on the control panel.
So there is no simple solution for all, but you have to be very specific and targeted for each of the segments. As we all know, technology is improving really rapidly around us. We already have AI and we're already working on 6G. So where do you see these technologies or these solutions in the future? What challenges you may see or what can we overcome?
Within that topic, as you mentioned, the AI and automation, in the Nokia Core Enterprise solution, we are, let's say, developing inside our team a lot of AI and automation scripts. I would like to tell some examples from the AI perspective. We are developing kind of agent and which can provide documentations to our services guys and customers to reduce the required time to create those kind of documentation. Because, for example, the high-level documentation requires weeks or months to have a full, complete and more precise document. But with AI, we can, let's say, generate those HLDs in 8-10 minutes. And those HLDs are mainly contains those specific things which is required for each and specific customer. And also from automation perspective, in our blueprinted solution, the most important and most hardest part is to define the low-level design. But we are just developing the low-level design scripts. Via these scripts, you can, let's say, generate the IPs which is required for that many softwares, and let's call it in Nokia CNFs, which is required in one solution. We are talking about 15, 20 CNFs in our one blueprinted solution, and with that automation, with that LLD automation, we can, let's say, generate those things in minutes. And with that, we can use to, let's say, to connect those softwares via these IPs. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of automatic generated IP addresses between the CNFs. And with that, we can reduce the time of the delivery, we can reduce the time of the preparation of our environment, where we need to validate this blueprinted solution, which is kind of off-the-shelf solution. So if the customers come to us, we can, let's say, provide a working solution kind of without any modification, because we can say, if you are using that setup with that configuration, with this LLD, this setup will work on your premise. So you do not need to modify anything.
Okay, so with these emerging technologies, the deployment time of our private networks gonna be significantly shorter.
Exactly.
So instead of, I don't know, weeks, days, you can have it in hours.
Yeah.
So that's what the future holds. Any other use case or idea how AI, for example, or 6G will be used in the future?
I see a big potential in the applications that we can put on top of the 5G network that we talked about. So Nokia already has a solution where some part of the private 5G network is in the cloud, and there is a application store similar to what Google and Apple offers for mobile phones. This would be for enterprises. They can just basically grab new features from that application store and install it on their network, which would act as a kind of enabler for new functionalities that they can use the network for. And this is where AI will take a big part, I think, because AI is very good in processing big amount of data, and these networks are producing intense amount of data. We could use AI to process this data and make decisions based on this data, basically instantly. And the applications that I mentioned could very well benefit from this AI enhancement.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. So these kind of edge computing scenarios are getting more and more interesting for enterprises. They want to secure their data. They don't want them to be sent to the cloud. They want to hold it indoors. And as you mentioned, we already have a very similar solution. And I completely agree that one of the big challenges or the big questions is whether Nokia will ever adapt any kind of artificial intelligence on these kind of solutions. I think the potential is there. So definitely we have the computational capacity. And if we arrange it well or teach it right, it is possible to run our own AI on an edge computer at one of the factories, for example. I think that would be a huge benefit for the customers.
Agree.
Okay, we have already talked about several enterprise segments like ports and automotive industry, the railways, and also the public safety. But I know that healthcare and sports also utilizes 5G technologies. Do you know any use cases or events that it was used before?
I would like to reflect to the sport segment. I think it's a very important and dynamically growing segment where actually not only enterprises but also end users, people can benefit from using 5G private networks. My team worked on an event at the Paris Olympics in 2024. There was obviously many cycling events in the velodrome, and there were many use cases that were trialed there for the first time. Nokia provided the 5G connectivity to the venue, and we worked together with many partners who brought in the different applications which brought the whole experience closer to the end users, to the spectators. One of them was related to VR and augmented reality, where they gave VR glasses to spectators, and they could sit on a bike basically, and while they were pedaling on the bike, they saw themselves going around the track in real time using 5G. And also what helped to bring the whole experience closer to people with disability, there was an application where there was a small 3D model of the velodrome, of the venue, that blind people could touch, and this model was reflecting in real time the progress of the cyclists during the race. So basically they could follow just by touching how the different cyclists are doing the race, and bringing the whole experience closer to them.
It's really amazing to see how such a technology is able to include almost everyone with this real-time experience, even for those who cannot see.
Yeah.
Any examples from the healthcare or healthcare industry?
From my side in the healthcare, what I can say is, for example, the surgery, when the doctors need to, let's say, do the critical kind of cut in a body, or on a body, remotely, when the most important, obviously the most important things is the human life. And for that, the 5G network, with the reliability, with the bandwidth, with the low latency, it can be really good opportunity to do this surgery remotely, far from 1,000 kilometers away, with robot arms, while in the other side of these arms are the doctor itself who can do this surgery or the operation.
Indeed. I think it clearly shows that with all of these examples, we barely scratch the surface of 5G potential. I mean, we only mentioned 6 or 7 of them, and the world is much bigger. So probably there's a lot of other use cases we haven't explored yet. So probably that's the future for us. Okay, thank you for joining us today, or thank you for chatting with me today on this topic.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you.
Thank you everyone for listening to Nokia 5G Talks. Follow us on social media and listen to the other episodes of the podcast. Thank you for listening to Nokia 5G Talks. Check out other episodes and exploring Nokia technologies.